Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
The Trinidad and Tobago government moving to implement the death penalty. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, March 16. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has publicly declared his support for the death penalty, and he says his administration is working towards implementing it to deal with citizens bent on committing murder with impunity in the Twin Island Republic. Rowley made the comments at a media brief on Thursday, one day after the body of 22-year-old female police officer Nyasha Joseph, who had gone missing for 6 days, was pulled out of the sea. The Prime Minister said the Attorney General's office is in the process of putting measures in place to ensure the Pratt & Morgan rule is followed. That rule says that a state that wishes to retain capital punishment must accept the responsibility of ensuring that execution follows as swiftly as practicable after sentence, allowing a reasonable time for appeal and consideration of reprieve appellate procedures. We get more in this report from CTV News.
The Prime Minister is for capital punishment. His statement in relation to a question over the recovery of the body of WPC Nyasha Joseph. Dr. Keith Rowley believes these crimes are being committed because persons are of the view that there are no consequences in this country.
And I'm making no apologies to anybody in this country for what I'm going to say here. I am a firm believer in capital punishment. And it is not as a result of any deterrent. It is the punishment for the crime.
Dr. Rowley noted that the Attorney General's office is putting in place a tracking process to try to ensure that the Plot and Morgan standards set by the Privy Council are met, so that persons guilty of heinous crimes will pay the ultimate penalty in law.
In order to ensure that we are properly guided by that, I, as Prime Minister, have communicated openly with former Attorney General Ramesh Lawrence Maraj, who has provided a pathway for the Office of the Attorney General to make sure that what exists now can be utilized to ensure that persons who are doing to us what they are doing to us, that at least some of them will have their day in court. And at the end of that day, if they are unsuccessful in their escape, they will face the penalty laid down in law in Trinidad and Tobago, and that is my story.
Meanwhile, in Tobago, Acting Commissioner of Police Stephen Williams said the service is traumatized by the death of their colleague. He said the TTPS is doing all in its power to ensure the person or persons responsible will be brought to justice.
Such a vicious and barbaric act by individuals or individuals is one which no one in this society will endorse and condone. As an organization, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service has been focusing on ensuring that we pursue this investigation with all our vigor to ensure that we can bring the perpetrators to justice within the shortest period of time.
Still in Trinidad and Tobago, the union representing workers at the Tourism Development Company, the TDC, is calling on the Prime Minister to step in and block the plan to dissolve the company. The Communication Workers Union, the CWU, says that's the only way to quell industrial unrest that began 2 days ago. The TDC's 114 employees are fighting for the company to stay open. Following their first protest on Tuesday outside the TDC's main office, they moved their demonstration to outside Parliament on Thursday. Alicia Boucher of TV6 News reports.
The scene outside of the Parliament at noon on Wednesday, distressed workers venting their frustrations in song, which Secretary General of the CWU says were exacerbated by Labour Minister Jennifer Baptiste-Primus's utterings that TDC employees will have the opportunity to apply for other jobs.
What stupidities that the minister is coming with in the face of a decision by the government to destroy the lives of so much citizens with impunity without exercising due process and observing the spirit of the law.
Remy says having come from the trade union movement herself, Baptiste-Primus should have known better and discouraged the government against such a decision.
Nobody has written to us officially, but they are negotiating in public. She is saying what would happen to the workers in public without engaging the RMU. She is breaching the laws and breaching what she should have known to be some fundamental principles that should not be interfered with.
It has been indicated that Tourism Minister Shamfa Kajo intends to meet with the union, but as it stands, the CWU feels the floor for holding talks on the matter has been shattered. The union says withdrawing the decision to dissolve the TDC is the only peaceful way forward, but it is bypassing the tourism minister in the call for it to be done.
The Prime Minister is now the acting Minister of Tourism. The Prime Minister is in charge of the cabinet. And by extension, the Prime Minister has an obligation to give an instruction to rescind this decision and then do the proper thing, the right and proper thing. That is the Prime Minister's obligation. This is his call now. He has allowed Shamfa Kojo to be a runaway train. We will deal with Shamfa.
Remy guarantees that the trade union movement will back the CWU in the matter, warning that there will be a price to pay for leading the movement to anger.
The Belize Tourism Industry Association, the BTIA, is warning that some of the tax measures announced by Prime Minister Dean Barrow in his budget this week will hurt the vital tourism sector. In addition to an increase in departure tax, government is proposing to collect 10% of the income of statutory bodies for the 2017-2018 fiscal year. Two of the boards that will be affected are the Belize Tourism Board, the BTB, and the Protected Areas Conservation Trust, PACT. The Tourism Association has expressed concern about not being consulted on these decisions, and the Executive Director John Burgess believes the proposed measures will have a negative impact on the sector.
We are a very costly destination, so we have to look into that. We mentioned also the examples of Costa Rica and the Bahamas. They tried to do this in their own countries and they saw how negatively it impacted their tourism industry. So they immediately removed that. So we asked government to completely make the decision to reverse the amendment as proposed, not to include any additional taxes. With regards to the 10% that has been requested from the statutory bodies, we have concerns also with the funding that the BTV, also the PAC. You have to remember, so if the tax for the PAC is increased, and then on top of that you're going to remove 10% of what is already collected for government spending, is defeating the purpose.
Meantime, opposition leader John Briceño has accused the administration of cooking the books. He said as far as surpluses on deficits announced by Prime Minister Barrow are concerned, the number just does not add up.
Barrow bogus budget. In a few months from now, we are going to have another supplementary budget because there are going to be shortfalls. But quite likely the Prime Minister will not care because from all indications that we've been hearing that he's not going to be around to look after that.
Member of Parliament for the ruling One Bermuda Alliance, Mark Pettingill, has resigned from the party. Pettingill tendered his resignation to Premier Michael Dunkley on Thursday, pledging to be an independent in the House of Assembly until the next general election, when he says he will bow out of politics. He told the local media that his decision to leave the party he had helped to form had not been easy.
Continuing ongoing legal professional conflicts with regard to the government, and I think more potentially pending in relation to clients. And, over the last period of time, I have found myself diametrically and philosophically opposed with regard to a number of things that are transpiring in relation to the direction that the government is taking or matters that they have taken up. There are a number of things that that I support and probably will continue to support. So it's not been an easy decision. It's taken a lot of reflection. And I have arrived at this position. I do think that it can be potentially in the interest of the country, which is what I always want to put first. So I haven't taken it lightly. And I hope that I can serve the constituents and more particularly Bermuda as a whole by sitting as an independent for the remaining time.
Pettengill is the second Member of Parliament to resign from the ruling One Bermuda Alliance in 8 months. In July last year, Sean Crockwell, a lawyer by profession, resigned, accusing the OBA of targeting both his business and personal life after he publicly denounced the party and its leadership and their handling of widespread demonstrations in March 2016 that crippled the country for days. Crockwell is a partner in the law firm Pettengill and Company Limited, who are currently representing 2 patients of former Premier Dr. Ewart Brown, whose office was raided last month in a number of confidential patient files removed. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, Venezuela says oil operations in Guyana violate an old agreement. The details of that story and more when we return.
Every day across the Caribbean, non-food goods made locally, regionally and internationally make their way into the hands of consumers. And from time to time, some of those goods may be defective and might actually cause harm. The CARICOM Rapid Alert System for the Exchange of Information on Dangerous Non-Food Consumer Goods, CAREX, has been set up to protect you. If you receive dangerous goods, you can file a complaint with your local CAREX contact point, or you can log on to www.carex.caricom.org and fill out the online form. The relevant agency will investigate, and once that is complete, the CAREX system will alert other countries in the region so that consumers will be protected from goods that pose a serious risk. For more information and to see the categories of goods covered under the system, visit www.carex.caricom.org or contact your local CAREX contact point. The CARICOM Single Market and Economy. Make it work for you.
Welcome to SwiftPack, your online shopping and shipping solution. Receive the best rates, expert cargo management, and exceptional customer service. SwiftPack provides secure handling of your smallest packages to your largest cargo with speed and reliability. We invite you to use our U.S. mailbox service, online shopping, ship air and ocean cargo from the supplier to your door. We handle it all for you. Get started now. Sign up for a free regular account or premium account, or give us a call on 440-6100. SwiftPack. You shop, we ship, you save.
Welcome back. The Energy and Petroleum Commission in Venezuela has rejected oil operations in Guyana's Essequibo region. According to a local report, the Energy and Petroleum Commission of Venezuela's National Assembly is convinced that the ongoing oil exploration violates the Geneva Agreement of 1966 and Article 10 of the Bolivarian Constitution of Venezuela. Vice President of the parliamentary body Elias Mata explained that, as stipulated in Article 5 of the Geneva Agreement, no resource can be exploited if there is no agreement between both nations. The Commission wants the Venezuelan government to send this agreement to the new United Nations Good Office for the Guyana-Venezuela conflict. The Venezuelan Parliamentary Commission also wants the UN office to immediately suspend all operations until the dispute is resolved. Venezuela has been claiming Guyana's territory for several decades, although the issue was settled since 1899. Antigua and Barbuda and France have signed a treaty to solidify negotiations with France to define the maritime space between the twin island nation and neighboring French territories. The treaty, signed on Wednesday, establishes the outer limits of Antigua and Barbuda's jurisdiction and exploration and exploitation of the Atlantic Ocean in respect to Guadeloupe and St. Barthélemy. Ambassador to the OECS and Barbados, Felipe Ardanza said it is the first step to managing the problem between French fishermen and those from Antigua and Barbuda. Prime Minister Gaston Brown added that the treaty would ultimately ensure there are no disputes over maritime space with Antigua and Barbuda's neighbors. A week and a half after a massive fire broke out at the public landfill in the Bahamas' capital, it has not yet been fully extinguished. The blaze started on March 5th and forced the evacuation of neighboring communities. Officials say the fire at the New Providence landfill in Nassau is more than 80% contained. And Senior Director at the Department of Environmental Services, Thomas Wilson, says efforts to put it out completely are continuing.
We are systematically moving from west now to east because of the wind shift. We have quite a bit of it that has been abated. The aerial drops from the fire and ice, the company that flew over, they have helped us tremendously. We are now fighting on the ground, trying to make inroads into what is going on. The smoke has thinned out quite a bit. But what is happening as well is we have to now work at the backside of whatever or whichever way the wind is shifting. We have to work at the backside of it.
And that was Thomasina Wilson, the Senior Director of the Department of Environmental Services in the Bahamas. Now, in the Cayman Islands, it has now its first national energy policy. Cabinet on Wednesday approved a policy that calls for the use of 70% renewable energy by 2037. The Caribbean Utilities Company says the goal is achievable. It is currently working on an integrated resource plan that will help draw a roadmap to achieve that goal without sacrificing reliability or causing drastic cost increases for the consumer. Joe Avery of Cayman 27 News has more.
Under cloudy skies, a 20-acre solar farm is taking shape in Baden Town. When complete and connected to the grid, the 5-megawatt project will supply enough clean energy to power 1,000 homes.
It really is going to be one of those things where, you know, you bite off chunks that you can manage at a time.
At 5 megawatts, the Lake Destiny Solar Farm is one small bite of a much bigger apple. It will take around 250 megawatts of renewables to reach the goal of 70%.
That's a lot, right? Just on a cost basis, it's about $500 million of generation assets. And it's a lot of land use. So that's not going to happen in 2 years. It will happen in 20.
CUC VP of Customer Service and Technology, Sasha Tibbett, says it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Which is one of the reasons why we've been very measured in our progress with respect to some of the new renewable energy integration in great quantities. It's fine if you have 1, 2, 3, or 4% of your resources fail because of a technology issue. It's not fine when it's 40%.
Mr. Tibbett says the utility's integrated resource plan in the works since last August will help chart the course to the finish line.
That can be done by heavily leaning on renewable energy systems. It can also be done by changing the type of fuel that we burn in our power plant. More than likely it'll be a combination of the two.
But even as more renewable technologies come online, the diesel generators are here to stay, at least for the foreseeable future.
I don't think that's going to really be going anywhere in the next couple of decades, even if it is being reduced in usage.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, the Brian Lara Stadium is finally ready after a decade-long wait. Stay with us. Sport is next. Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and CaribVision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-467-1044. 253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today.
Yeah, the bomb. The bomb. Oh, show it off for me. What's left? All right, left. Go left.
So, DJ Nori, he is fun, professional, and a great guy.
What's up, guys? Everybody doing all right? What's going on? I just finished having a little lunch with Kibo, and we definitely was talking about you guys, and he said y'all was going to be down here, but so while I'm driving to the airport, I said, let me come over here.
One aim of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, is for CARICOM nationals to be able to move in the region, to seek work, to visit, to establish a business, or to provide services. CARICOM also provides a complaints procedure which allows you to report any instances where you have experienced difficulty in accessing your rights, either on arrival or once in the country. Simply complete the form provided online and at a number of locations. Submit it to the CSME focal point in your home country, the country where you had an issue, or via the web. The complaints procedure works to safeguard access to CSME for all CARICOM nationals. For more information, visit csmeonline.org or call your local CSME authority. The CARICOM Single Market and Economy. Make it work for you.
After 10 years without a ball being bowled at the Brian Lara Stadium in Tarouba since its construction, the TNT government will open the facility in May. The $1 billion TT stadium, which was built under a Patrick Manning-led PNM administration for the 2007 Cricket World Cup, has been mired in controversy because of cost overruns and then subsequent neglect. TV6's Fane Richards was at the media tour of the region's newest cricket ground on Wednesday.
Good morning and welcome to Brian Lara Cricket Academy. It's a wonderful day here today and we're happy to have you here.
$1 billion stadium, 12 years in the making. The Brian Lara Stadium in Tarouba was started in 2005 in the hope it would be ready for the 2007 Cricket World Cup. It finished 10 years late.
Was this so difficult? What we saw today, was this so difficult? That 10 years, over 10 years have elapsed. And in 9 months, we will be able to right the wrongs.
After the initial cost of $275 million ballooned to $885 million, the project came under the scrutiny of the UF Commission of Inquiry. The PP government later decided it was too expensive to complete the stadium. In 2016, the PNM government committed $90 million to fill in missing pieces, replace what was stolen by vandals, and rehabilitate years of decay.
Water lines were corroded because the water had remained in them for a long time. All the fittings had to be replaced. The air conditioning we did over because over the years the standards required for the gas that's used in air conditioning had been revamped.
He's got it away and that's it. That's going to be Brian Lara's 25th.
This was intended to be a living ode to TNT's most iconic cricketer. Fans will sit on his initials, his record-breaking knocks forever inscribed here. The stadium will seat 15,000, up to another 3,000 on the picnic-style grass berms. For the VIP spectators, private boxes are still being spruced up. But no matter where spectators sit, they'll be seen by one of 150 cameras circling the venue.
The PTZ camera allows you to zoom in on different events that you see taking place. If you see someone fighting or some bottle throwing incident, the security can actually zoom in and see exactly what took place.
Long before the first spectator ever sits in these stands, the Tarouba Stadium would have had a long, checkered history, complete with millions of dollars in cost overruns, Brian Lara wanting to disassociate his name with the project, and the Tarouba Stadium being considered at one point as a possible detention center during the state of emergency. Now, with the billion-dollar price tag behind them, government is hoping that some dignity can be restored to make this a national sporting landmark.
And we believe that this ground is in fact the best ground for cricket in the Caribbean. And the CPL representatives that have toured the facility have told us that it is by far the best ground in the Caribbean.
The Ministry of Sport says there will be a concerted push to get the venue earning revenue. Officials said once the grounds are tested and certified, the stadium will host its first match with Brian Lara's help in May, a day they hope will be a lovely day.
And over to football, Trinidad and Tobago women's Soca Warriors will host Venezuela in 2 warm-up matches later this month. The matches are part of their preparation for the FIFA Women's World Cup in France in 2019. Newly appointed head coach Caroline Morachi says the 2-match fixture will be a good test for the squad.
For us, it's a test. So it's the second time that I can see the players that are based in the US. We will be not fast because we still have our preparation. But in these few weeks, we had also some friendly match against the boys and against the under 20. And I think that is a good to verify which point we are at this moment.
The experienced Italian coach expects a tough fight against the South American side. Morachi explained why Venezuela should not be underestimated.
They love football. Is a country that live for football like Italy. They have a lot of technical players. But and for us, I repeat, is a good start because we want to understand where we are. It's a new style, and I want to understand where we are. We know that Venezuela has more experience than us, but we want to do a good job.
Both matches will kick off on March 27th and 29th at the Otto Bolden Stadium. And finally, Caribbean champions Kamal Cumberbatch and Megan Best were in outstanding form during the 2017 Junior National Squash Championships, which were held in Barbados last weekend. They each carted off 2 titles as the island's best juniors produced some exciting squash and fought for supremacy in 8 divisions. Cumberbatch, the current Caribbean under-15 champion who is attending high school in the United States, took his first title as he defeated number 2 seed Joshua Seeley, that's Seal, 11-4, 11-2, 11-6 in the under-17 mixed final. He then returned with top number 2 seed left-hander Zachary Proverbs Harris in the boys under-19 final. Best won 14-12, 11-6, 11-4 to claim her first under-19 title and her overall 9th national championship. And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
CSME, opportunities to relocate for work as a CARICOM skilled national have been expanded to include 10 categories of persons. 2 of those categories are artisans and household domestics holding a Caribbean vocational qualification or CVQ. A CVQ is a certificate you can apply for based on how well you do your job. If you are certified as a household domestic, including housekeepers and home health workers, or an artisan, including persons in the building trade, craft persons, and machine operators, you could be eligible to move for work. CVQ standards have been developed with regional employers, so your skills will be recognized wherever you go. Contact your national training agency to find out about CVQs for artisans or household domestics, or visit csmeonline.org for more information. The CARICOM Single Market and Economy. Make it work for you.
It's not about exercising. It's having the strength to do what you're passionate about. It's not about the road traveled. It's about the one to be traveled. An important thing in life is finding the perfect balance between body and soul. With a bottle of Ensure, you get the proteins, calcium, and 26 vitamins and minerals your body needs to live the best moments of your life with strength and energy. Your life, your health, your Ensure.
And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, we thank you for watching. Do have yourselves a very good night.